But, I've always, like I said, from that Tuesday in Texas, when I got that answer, I knew all I needed to know.
Hulk Hogan built an empire on charisma, manipulation, and lies. The Undertaker shattered that facade by leaking footage and exposing the so-called Golden Goose as a fraud. This is the full unfiltered account from inside the ring, backstage, and beyond, revealing that Hogan's darkest moment began with one tombstone, the move that exposed his backstage politics. The relationship between Hulk Hogan and The Undertaker remains one of the most complex intersections in professional wrestling history. It began with mutual respect and an introduction that gave Mark Calloway his defining gimmick but quickly descended into distrust, manipulation, and controversy. To understand why The Undertaker would later reveal unsettling truths about Hogan, we must start at the very beginning, with the creation of the Dead Man character itself. Hogan has often claimed that he played a key role in bringing Mark Calloway to Vince McMahon's attention. According to Hogan, during the filming of Suburban Commando in 1991, the production required large actors to portray alien bounty hunters. Hogan said he remembered Mean Mark Callis from WCW and recommended him for the role. After filming, Hogan allegedly introduced Calloway to McMahon and, in Hogan's words, helped launch the legend of The Undertaker.
Doing a movie called Suburban Commando, and we needed a couple of really big aliens. And we had one actor, and we couldn't find another guy big enough, so I remember Mean Mark
After the movie, Hulk Hogan invited The Undertaker to meet Vince McMahon. According to Hogan, he personally arranged the introduction, believing that Calloway had the size, presence, and potential to become a major star in the WWF. Hogan claimed that he spoke highly of Calloway to McMahon, suggesting that he would be perfect for a dark, intimidating character. Hogan often took credit for helping bring The Undertaker into the company, portraying himself as the one who opened the door to one of wrestling's most iconic careers.
Became really good friends. Once we were done, I said, man, you gotta come to New York. So I brought Mark Calloway in to meet Vince. And Vince took a long look at him and looked him up and down. He was a monster, 6'10", in really good shape. And Vince said, I'm gonna call you The Undertaker.
This moment marked the birth of The Undertaker, with Vince McMahon recognizing Mark Calloway's potential almost immediately. The Undertaker himself rarely challenged Hogan's version of events, but insiders have long suggested that Calloway was already on McMahon's radar and had been scouted months earlier. Regardless of the truth, Hogan positioned himself as the gatekeeper of The Undertaker's career, an early sign of his tendency to claim credit for others' success. The honeymoon period didn't last. Within a year, Hogan and The Undertaker clashed on screen in one of the most controversial moments in wrestling history, Survivor Series 1991 at Joe Louis Arena in Detroit. That night, The Undertaker captured his first WWF championship by defeating Hulk Hogan. However, the victory was soon overshadowed by a supposed neck injury Hogan claimed to have suffered from the Tombstone piledriver. The Undertaker later recalled the night in vivid detail, describing the tense build-up, the paranoia Hogan created backstage, and the chaos that followed. Just hours before the match, Hogan had pulled him aside, voicing concerns about taking the move and warning that one mistake could cause serious injury.
He goes, hey, I got this neck injury. He says, I'm really nervous about taking your finish. And I was like, Hulk, believe me. I said, I will protect you. I pride myself on not hurting people. And I promise you, I will have you so tight that there's no way possible that you're going to hurt you.
From that point forward, Hogan continually reminded him of the risks, putting the weight of responsibility squarely on the shoulders of a young Undertaker who was about to hold the company's championship for the first time. When the moment came, The Undertaker performed the Tombstone piledriver onto a steel chair. According to his own account, Hogan was completely protected, with his head safely above the mat and no contact made during the move.
And my kids rougher bumps than I give Hogan.
Yeah.
Right? I wrap him up. I've got him. The chair comes down. Boom. As soon as my knees touch. Oh, brother, you got me. I'm like, oh, I just crippled him.
The supposed injury escalated quickly. Hogan was stretchered backstage, taken into Vince McMahon's office, and surrounded by staff and EMTs. The Undertaker later admitted that he was frozen with fear, convinced he had just ended the career of the company's biggest star. He described hiding behind a wall with Shane McMahon as paramedics checked on Hogan, asking if he could feel his limbs. Then, in a scene that only heightened the tension, Hogan dramatically said, "You can hear the EMTs, they're checking him out." And then all of a sudden, I hear Hogan go, "Somebody get my wife and kids on the phone." For The Undertaker, it was a nightmare. He had just been crowned WWF champion, but instead of celebrating, he believed he had accidentally crippled the face of professional wrestling. Within days, however, Hogan had made a remarkable recovery and was back in the ring. When The Undertaker later reviewed the footage, he saw the truth. Hogan's head had never even come close to touching the mat or the chair.
I can hear the MTs, they're checking him out. And then all of a sudden I hear Hogan go, "Somebody get my wife and kids."
When confronted, Hogan shifted the narrative, claiming that The Undertaker had held him too tightly, causing a neck strain. For The Undertaker, this was the defining moment that revealed Hogan's true character. Instead of admitting he had exaggerated, Hogan deflected blame to protect his position as the company's top draw. Undertaker later stated that this was when he realized everything he needed to know about Hogan. The fallout was swift. Days later, WWF staged an unusual Tuesday pay-per-view in Texas, where Hogan regained the championship. The Undertaker's reign lasted only 6 days, one of the shortest in company history. Many observers viewed this as a way to quickly return the belt to Hogan while maintaining the illusion that Undertaker had been a legitimate threat. Undertaker himself believed the incident had been orchestrated to justify stripping him of the title. This single event permanently damaged the trust between Hogan and Undertaker. Although Undertaker remained professional in public and credited Hogan for his contributions to wrestling, he never forgot the manipulation. 4 years afterward, when asked about Survivor Series 1991, Undertaker maintained the same conclusion. Hogan had exaggerated or fabricated an injury to regain control of the championship picture. Meanwhile, Hogan continued to spin the story differently depending on his audience. In interviews, he claimed he suffered lasting neck pain, framing it as evidence of toughness. Backstage, however, wrestlers reviewing the footage saw the truth. Undertaker had executed the move safely, and Hogan had used politics to turn a clean title loss into a pretext for reclaiming the belt. This marked the beginning of the rift. The Undertaker entered WWF as a young, intimidating phenom, only to discover the ruthless politics surrounding Hogan. The darkest footage of this era was not a hidden camera or unreleased match. It was a Survivor Series tombstone itself, proving Hogan's head had never come close to the mat and exposing his desperate need to protect his aura at all costs. What Undertaker later revealed in podcasts and shoot interviews was not just a retelling of a match. It was the exposure of a calculated deception that undermined Hogan's credibility and nearly derailed Undertaker's career before it began. Hogan's paranoia and political maneuvering became clear, and the seeds of animosity were planted that night in Detroit. By the end of 1991, Undertaker had learned a lesson that would shape his approach for the next 3 decades. In professional wrestling, skill and safety mattered, but politics and ego often mattered more. At the top of that pyramid of politics stood Hulk Hogan, a man willing to fake a career-threatening injury to protect his position. The darkest footage was not staged violence or scripted drama. It was the reality of Hogan pretending to be paralyzed on the locker room floor while the 26-year-old Undertaker panicked, believing he had ended the Golden Goose's career. The tape didn't lie. Hogan's head never touched the mat. But his credibility was forever damaged in the eyes of Undertaker and many peers who quietly noted the truth. This was only the first of many fractures between Hogan and Undertaker as the 1990s progressed. Further incidents surfaced, not only involving Undertaker but other wrestlers who experienced similar manipulation, politics, and deception. Hogan's Survivor Series tactics were not aimed solely at Undertaker, they targeted anyone who threatened his spot. Undertaker's perspective on Hogan solidified not just from their conflict, but from observing what happened in the locker room. One of the most notorious complaints against Hogan involved sandbagging, the practice of going limp during lifts to make a move appear sloppy or to expose an opponent as unsafe. In wrestling, this is considered highly unprofessional and dangerous, as it undermines both the move and the performer executing it. The Survivor Series 1991 controversy thus served as Undertaker's initiation into a world where Hogan's backstage politics could control outcomes as much as in-ring ability.